I keep thinking you're saying Greg, and I'm like, oh, Greg's listening. That's cool.
Yeah,
Greg.
Greg's our intern. Greg's our producer.
Greg just like he didn't watch the movie, but he just goes on mute, listens to the episode sometimes.
He likes to listen to it in real time.
Like every
Yeah.
once in a while, he comes off mute with like a Greg commentary for the viewers. That'd be fun. Greg says, "Yeah, they just lied completely right here. I googled it while they were talking. Not true at all."
He makes his own podcast.
You can tell Ben forgot what he was doing because he just says for 30 straight seconds and doesn't let anyone else talk and then changes the subject.
It would be fantastic. We'll talk to Greg about this, see if he wants to roast us live.
Yeah.
He probably does. The whole point is you feel like you're having a conversation with friends if the podcast is good, but in this case, I think most of the people that listen actually are our friends. So
yeah,
fair.
Anyway, time to talk about our first Reba movie.
But Reba was Reba McEntire.
Yeah.
She's one of the gun nuts.
Oh, okay.
The woman.
Yeah, I was going to ask which one, but was it Earl? Okay, it wasn't Earl. I haven't seen Reba in a while.
Incredible performance.
There's like 6 different times I thought those people were going to die, but anyway,
they probably should.
It's okay. Well, yeah,
we can't do it yet. As you guys know, I don't know how to start the podcast, so it'll either be I actually don't know what Craig caught, but it would be whatever Craig caught, or something along the lines of "Welcome to Late to the Movies." My name is Ben Holt. This is a podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. Each week, we'll pick a film that either I or a guest hadn't seen before, and really should have by now. This week, continuing Dumpuary: Battle of the Genres is our. This is me shrugging, kind of like going, sorry, this is our sci-fi representative. Sure, science fiction film, Tremors.
Perfect. Yes, perfect. I like it. That's what I would
Tremors.
It's not a horror. It's absolutely not a horror.
Is it like a creature?
Creature feature?
Creature
feature? I call it a creature feature.
Monster movies are kind of their own thing. It does have a lot in common with the newer Godzilla movie. Like a small community has to band together because the government's not helping them.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, sorry. I want to watch that. We'll talk after.
Yeah. Godzilla -1, I think still in some theaters, but a little harder to get at now.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. All right, I'll wait till it's on my TV.
Yeah, there you go. A movie that bombed at the time, big disappointment for Universal, but then the power of VHS tapes saved it, made it a cult classic, one of the highest selling VHSs ever.
I absolutely love this movie. One of my favorite movies. I was so pumped to go back and watch them because I've multiple times watched all 3 of them. So I actually last night I went straight through it. I watched all 3 of them, but it's not 3 anymore.
I don't know if I can 5.
There was like Tremors Wild West, where like the first time the Tremors popped up, and then there was another one. I don't know what that was, but I'm gonna fucking watch them. You better believe I'm gonna fucking watch them.
There's a series. Have you seen the TV series?
So that's kind of where I draw the line.
Okay,
but like that's I'm here, but there's a bit of I don't have any Tremors merchandise or anything like that. I feel like that's where that leads.
There you go. Before we get into Tremors, guests this week, left to right across your podcast style, we got Robbie.
Yo.
And we got Noah.
Hello.
You guys haven't been on yet this month, so the general idea, Dumpuary, is what we're calling this month because January is considered the worst time of the movie calendar to release a movie. And a lot of movies get quote unquote dumped in January if maybe they cost a lot of money, but the production company that made them, the studio, just sort of lost faith in it and just sort of wants to put it out because they're obligated to, but don't really want anyone to notice. So this month we're picking a different genre each week, and then they're going to battle it out. And I'm still haven't entirely figured out what it means by them battling it out, but we'll find it as we go. What were you going to say, Robbie?
Is that like, is it obvious? But January is also the worst month for breakups because people stick through till Christmas but don't want to be together for Valentine's Day. So I don't know if
Makes
that's
sense.
intended, but like, or if
That makes
Oh,
sense.
separate, but like, yeah, it's statistically the most popular month for breakups as well. I think that's
Did they call
probably
it
meant to be a
Dumpuary?
joke. I don't know if they call it Dumpuary, so we're good there.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
there is a tie-in. It's interesting that it ties in with movies. Maybe the producers are all getting broken up with and being like, "Fuck."
It works.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
yeah, dump months usually, in my head at least, just refers to movies. No surprise that that's where my point of reference is. But probably, I mean, it works for relationships too, for sure. Um, I like it.
Yeah.
So, have you guys? I guess we can add this to the list also. Have you guys seen any good movies or gotten dumped lately?
Well, I also rewatched 21 Jump Street the day before yesterday, and that was just so fantastic. I love that movie so goddamn much.
That's a good movie.
It's a good movie. It's such a good for a sequel. It's like the best sequel that exists. I'll say. I think I could say that confidently, but I'm gonna get yelled at in the comments below.
I remember you really liked Godfather 2 also, but
Oh, that is a tough like
you're neck and neck.
neck and neck, and they're similar genre.
Yeah, exactly.
Watched The Holdovers. That was really good.
Nice. Now on Peacock, easy to get at. What'd you think?
Oh, nice. I liked it a lot. Yeah, I
Good.
thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I liked the main boy. I thought he did really well, and then Paul Giamatti, right? That's the guy that played the
Yeah.
teacher. Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. Yeah, one of those movies that gets you
This
like.
movie stars the main boy and Paul Giamatti.
What?
This movie stars the main boy and Paul Giamatti. I'm assuming I haven't seen it at all. I have no frame
That's
of
the
reference.
actor's name, right?
Uh,
The main.
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm
Last
assuming
boy.
that it's a child that's the lead, and that's why you said boy. It just sounds so weird as like the main boy, and then to pair it, you
Or
hit
the
me
lead
with
actor, I
Paul
should say.
Giamatti, and I'm like, oh, that's a weird movie.
So the main boy,
That's what
he's played by
probably should
it's
know
like an
aside
and
from it.
introducing situation. The kid's kind of like a discovery. I'm sure he's been in other stuff, but I haven't seen him in anything. Dominic Sessa is the kid,
Interesting.
and he's really good
Okay.
at it.
Hmm,
And
awesome.
Giamatti's
Yes,
throwing a
there's the
million
main
miles an
boy.
hour. Yeah, that too. The main
Uh,
boy.
Yeah. So I watched that, and then I rewatched John Wick 4, which is incredible still.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
Still holds
That's a
up.
good one.
Yeah, still holds up.
Two classic holiday films. Two
Mhm.
like instant modern classic holiday films in my mind.
Mhm.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, I should watch that again as well. But the Paint It Black in French from that is a banger, and you can get it on Spotify. But it's called like Maria de la Corner or something like that. I'll send you.
Was that one of the tracks that the DJ lady puts on
Oh
when
yeah,
it's
when
like
he's
days?
going through the club,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
the Paint It Black.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Paint It Black covers. I just in like the French. I don't know. I love it. I love it.
I just got for Christmas John Wick 4 on 4K.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be throwing that up on the old OLED soon, and just
Awesome.
reliving some of those sequences. So good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since we saw it in theaters. That was the last time I saw it.
Same. The world
Awesome.
that they build is great. I love the little touches that they add every movie. I thought it was getting a little bit stretched in the third one, but in the fourth one they brought me back. I love that in Paris there's a radio station for hitmen and women,
Mhm. Yeah.
and it's like very thinly coded murder instructions going out over the broadcast. Maybe I don't know. I only ever broadcasted in America, so I'm not sure. Maybe the French version of the FCC is just a little bit more lax on that kind of thing. But
That's just how French people talk. It's not really that alarming over there.
what did you say? Like the man in blacks at the Arc de Triomphe, bring your biggest guns or whatever.
Literally, he hits a cigarette and sips his coffee, and they think he's talking about a poem or something.
What imagery? Anyway, the climbing up the steps to Sacre Coeur is, I think, the best sequence in like any movie last year. But anyway,
Yeah,
Mm.
that's great.
Very good.
good stairs. A classic stairs movie. Usually Ray's the one who gets to determine, but she's not on. I don't think she's seen John Wick 4, so we can make that decision.
We should make her
Those
watch
stairs.
just John Wick 4 and then come on the podcast.
The stairs highlights.
Yeah,
The stair highlights.
yeah.
You
It's
could watch John Wick 4, I think, without watching the other three, and I think you'd be
probably.
fine.
Yeah. I think so too.
Besides John Wick, most of the main characters are only in John Wick 4. Like each movie,
Which-
there's like a new bad guy, and well, I guess the staff at the Continental.
Which it's just kind of impressive because, like you said, they add new things every movie, but they also don't like tell us Batman's parents got killed every movie. Like they managed to make it completely seamless, where it's super impressive that you could have somebody watch any movie, enjoy it, understand it, but you can also watch all 4 in a row and get so much more out of it because there is this world that's been building without you really realizing it.
Yeah,
It's a
It's
tough
cool.
line to walk.
I would think the only thing is that Lance Reddick's only in like 2 scenes before he gets killed. Spoiler alert. And you might not you probably don't have the emotional impact of that if this is a character you've only just met.
That's fair. He actually died in real life, didn't he?
I know. So you have that emotional impact too. Like right before John Wick 4 came out.
John Wick 4
actually.
came out. Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
like very recently.
Talk about method acting.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now that's a bumper.
R.I.P.
On that note. Okay, let's get to the movie because I only have like 40 minutes and I got to go.
Oh shit.
Let's do it.
Although for real, like how much are we really going to say about Tremors?
Yeah,
well,
I think we can breeze
I
through
got a
this
lot to
one.
say about Tremors.
Let's
I mean,
find
come
out. I mean, I like Tremors. I know Robbie's a big Worms guy, but and you already said
They're
that
basically
this is
snakes.
Oh yeah.
and a lot of the tiny versions of the graboids that come out of the graboids'
It has like
mouths.
snakes in its mouth. It's like
Yeah.
a big worm.
Snakes with
Snake-
eyebrows.
Snake mouth with eyebrows.
I mean, it's not like they didn't like go out of their way to not make them look like dicks either.
yeah.
So, you
I'm,
know,
I'm seeing dicks. Is anyone else seeing dicks? I didn't see dicks. I just want to say like that wasn't something that popped in my head.
just
big-
looks like
big dick
cigars to me.
vibes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Which is it's fine. A lot of things look like dicks. It's surprising that these ones didn't. It's weird for me. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's usually where you're focused on for like interpretation of objects in the world. Like,
Especially like
most
my-
men, but
my humor based orientation. Yeah, but
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Yeah, let's get into it. I had not seen Tremors before, but I knew a lot about it. I knew its legacy as a major studio flop that became one of the biggest success stories in home video of the 90s. I knew Kevin Bacon was in it. And I knew how it ended because that's like a famous scene with the thing going out of the mountainside.
Mm.
But I had never seen it before. How about you guys?
I've seen it, I think, a few times when I was younger, but not in a very long time since I rewatched it.
Yeah. And Robbie, you already said it's like your
That was
favorite movie.
It's not my favorite. It's probably my favorite like sci-fi type movie. If that like the bad like monster or like
Yeah.
It Waits or any of those things you'd catch on sci-fi. This is my favorite one.
Yeah. And for our little group here, this is our second kind of like action comedy horror that's based around puppets in a row. But not that I'm trying to pigeonhole you guys into that, but I just figured this would be a fun group.
What's kind of funny because I did notice that was one of the biggest things I noticed. It was a lot more obvious that like when they're ripping off blanks, it's just somebody's like hand just grabbing the blanks with a mitten over it. It's fine. It was good.
They're charming. I think they're charmingly kind of low rent. The look of the graboids is good for me.
They did a good job. They gave a little personality too, which was interesting since like they really shouldn't.
It seems that they like I personally couldn't really track the one that they were calling Stump or Stumpy.
Yeah.
That's like the last one they killed. That's like typical in monster movies where there's more than one monster. There's like one primary one. Oh, this one's a little bit smarter.
Mom
He's
or whatever.
Yeah, like this was the one that's trying to trap us or trick us. This one is the
Yeah.
one that's not getting outsmarted by us. But it's like I guess just because that's the one that grabbed the truck. So one of his tiny graboids was like stumpier. But
Where are the graboids the little snakes in the mouth?
Oh, the whole thing is a graboid, but like
Oh, okay.
people call
Right.
them tremors. They do a bit about that in the second or third one where they like make a call out where somebody's like, "Are they tremors or graboids?" And like,
Okay.
oh, I didn't even consider that the creatures were called tremors in this one. But I bet the public at large might.
Right, because it's their Tremor. And Graboids is a really bad name.
It's fun. It feels very like 50s horror monster movie, just something with a dumb name. And I don't
For
even remember them deciding that. Just like halfway through the movie, Kevin Bacon starts calling them Graboids.
Yeah,
It's
I picked up on that.
the Chinese guy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There's a
Walter.
callback to that in the second one too.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't
Victor,
remember this random shit if it wasn't, so I am specifying.
thank you. I appreciate it. Victor Wong, by the way, this is our first Victor Wong movie, but we'll be doing at least a couple more. He's in two of my favorite John Carpenter movies. So
He looked very familiar. I don't know exactly who he is, but
he plays a big role in Big Trouble in Little China.
haven't seen it.
Okay. I haven't seen that either.
And he's also in Prince of Darkness. 1 minute plot summary. Who wants to do it?
Robbie?
All right, fine.
Sorry. I ain't doing this. I'm sorry.
I'll do it. I'll try to keep it to a minute. It should be easy. It's not that complicated.
Not a lot of plot.
You got this.
There's not a lot of plot. So, okay, we got these two dudes. They're slackers, haven't done anything with their life. They're about to leave town. Try to leave town. They realize this drunk dude died of dehydration up in a radio tower. They go back, keep getting delayed. Finally, try to leave, get help, and the road's been collapsed. What's going on? Giant underground worms. They're coming. They're eating people. They're sinking cars. They hear through sounds. So this is a bunch of shenanigans. You got to get away from these guys. They're trying to get out of the valley. The worms keep eating people. They meet a prepper. He's got a bunch of guns. Guns don't work, so they have dynamite. And then chase them up onto rocks, blow them up, a couple of them with dynamite. And then Kevin Bacon is like, I'm footloose. And he runs over to a cliff and then barrel rolls away and the worm falls over and blows up.
Yeah. I mean,
Nice.
yeah. It's a pretty simple idea, but I think pretty well executed.
Yeah.
I like that. It just sort of, there's not like a ton of throat clearing. We sort of just get into the big worms are killing people.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
like they try to do a little bit with that where they're like they mention it briefly where the Tremors predate dinosaurs, but they really should have left it alone. So in the third one, they start saying like it predated the Cambrian era, where like it was only tremors and single cell organisms. Like, did any of you in the writers' room say that out loud? What were they eating, you dumbasses? Single cell organisms? So you got single cell organisms and 30-foot worms? What kind of system is that?
I don't know if
Sorry.
anyone else has ever questioned the science of the third Tremors movie. But
Whatever. I'm just saying. I'm like, why are you going back to like primordial soup? Like, we don't even have an atmosphere at that point. What are these worms doing? They're not like now we're getting into like Shia Haldu territory. Like, were these worms the makers? Did they form the ooze into the earth so they'd have something to fucking eat? Like,
I think they needed you in the writers' room. They just tried to make another Tremors TV series, and they even had Kevin Bacon on board, and even the Sci-Fi channel passed. So they probably didn't have the science right. It wasn't scientifically sound.
But it took me out of it immediately. Pre-camp, I don't want to hear it.
Wait, you're talking about the third one?
They get into it. They mention it briefly where they say that the Tremors predate dinosaurs because of the geological rock history. She's like, that's how old the spike is in the rock.
I'm on the Wikipedia page. I don't know why it says this, but on the third one it says it introduced a new creature called the ass blasters. Is that true?
Oh, dude, you have no idea what you're missing by not seeing the second one. I almost sent you guys a picture of there's like little walking ones before the ass blasters. There's little walking ones, and they're making like a human like pyramid to try to climb up on top of a building where the people are hiding.
Oh
They're
man,
like hopping on each other's backs.
I will
Great.
say, this one lacked bits. It didn't have the gremlin bits. I wanted the little snake things with top hats and drinking beers and stuff.
That would be kind of funny. I would enjoy that.
Yeah, I can't tell you how much I didn't think that's where the conversation would go, but I'm glad to know that. I didn't know that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of problems with the writing, My, I guess, segue. Speaking of the writing, the writers for this movie, they were out in the desert looking at creating some educational safety videos for the Navy. SS Wilson and Brent Maddock were the writers, and they climbed up on top of a desert boulder and thought to themselves, what if there was something that wouldn't let us off this rock? So they started brainstorming ideas. They shared their idea with a friend who was working with National Geographic on documentaries, and he sort of used his, I guess, zoological knowledge to make them something more, if you'll excuse the pun, grounded to what could actually exist in the desert. And yeah, so they came up with the idea. Then those guys wrote the movie Short Circuit, which was a big hit. And then Tremors. There you go.
Absolutely love that that's how it came up, because fully buy it, fully believe it. But that means that there's two independent people that looked at the desert and were like, yeah, big fucking worm. That's it. That's the only thing that could, because like, yeah, the desert's big and open. What giant monster would be a threat where you're like, oh, it's like 4 miles away and coming at us. We better, camp out tomorrow. So it's cool. I don't know. It's just a neat, it's like the crabification thing. It's the wormification with the desert.
Yeah, it makes sense. The first 20 minutes of the movie are just the two main characters driving around, encountering things, and running away. And I like that that's sort of all that's happening.
Yes.
Including non-blonde women, even if they're above average attractive, but they're not blonde. So Kevin Bacon is so mad.
I had this whole because I was rewatching it. He's given that bit, and I'm like, okay, you're in a town of legit 15 people.
14.
If any person comes through, you should just be thanking the lucky stars you have a shot with somebody. But then I kept thinking about it. I'm like, well, he's in a town with 14 people, so he can be pretty picky because he also looks like Kevin Bacon. So he's just gonna wait for that. Eventually, somebody will. I don't care if she's married. I'm Kevin fucking Bacon.
Yeah, he's 1990 Kevin Bacon, so he's fine.
He always has that.
He always has that to fall back on.
But yeah, no, I agree. Their writing was a little weird there too. Like, what was is that where we were at in the 90s?
It's weird because she's introduced and he reacts so poorly. And so in my head, I'm thinking oh, they're doing that thing where it's like, oh, this lady is unattractive. And then she's going to take her hat off and wipe the zinc off her nose. And he'll be like, oh, you were hot the whole time. But then it did get a laugh out of me that it's immediately followed up with Fred Ward, who plays Earl, the Kevin Bacon, Val's friend, and I guess partner in their sort of loose handyman business. I like that as they're driving away, he's like, it's weird that you have these 4 specific things you look for in women and get super mad if a woman doesn't match those 4 specific things.
That's interesting, bro. Have you been tested for autism?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a very specific fixation.
Yeah. And it is, I guess, sort of a swerve because like I'm saying, I'm thinking it's doing that sort of cheap movie thing where it's like, oh, this lady at the end, she's obviously an attractive person, the actress, but then the movie's going to pretend that she isn't for the sake of the romance narrative. But no, Earl's clearly thinks that she's an attractive lady or whatever. And then, it's just that he wants a specific type of blonde woman that he has what's the term? Like an image board.
The dream board or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a Pinterest thing. I don't know.
Yeah, he has an analog Pinterest taped to the back of his fucking mirror in his car.
So,
weird.
Do we don't care about spoilers from Tremors 2, right?
No.
No.
So that's Kevin Bacon's really specific thing. The other main character, I don't think they introduced it in the first one, but did he have a Playboy model up on the wall?
I don't think so. We never see him in a room.
Okay, so in the second one, he's still in his trailer, and he's got this Playboy model spread on the wall, like Miss November 1984 or whatever. And they're trying to recruit him to kill the new Tremors. And he's like, oh yeah, and what, Miss Playboy 1984 is going to walk in here? And then the new geologist is that fucking Playboy model. She did it once to pay her way through college. Get the fuck out of here, guys.
Wow.
Oh, fun.
Fun.
Oy.
Oh, they have a good time.
Looks like Kevin Bacon turned down Tremors 2 to be in Apollo 13. I think that's pretty fair. Pretty fair trade-off.
It's very clear that he turned them down and they were not happy about it. I didn't even know that. I was going to ask you about it because like the dialogue
like,
is
he dies
all
off
like
screen or something.
No, he's just a big asshole that like screwed him out of all the merchandising and franchising. Like he got married to the geologist and made a shit ton of money off Tremors. and
Oh, that's funny.
now he doesn't share with the co-star.
Wow.
Like, wow, this is a little tongue in cheek, guys. Huh? Did you just make like a whole movie that's like, fuck you, Kevin Bacon?
Yeah. Poor Fred Ward has not gotten as famous as Kevin Bacon in the 6 years in between, and so he does still return to star in the movie. Poor guy. This is our second Kevin Bacon film. You guys remember the last one?
That we've done?
Yes. It was 10 years before this, 1980. Also a horror movie, not as funny.
Which one was it? I missed the name.
I didn't say it yet. I was asking if you remembered.
No, not at all.
Friday the 13th.
Oh shit! I keep forgetting Kevin Bacon was like young at one point.
Yeah, he's not. You know,
wasn't just born into.
It's just funny because like I do know him as like an 80s heartthrob, but like my picture is like Kevin Bacon, 80s heartthrob, and then it's like 55-year-old Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, there's no in between.
Yeah, like a 60-year-old man in Footloose.
Yeah,
I think what this movie could have used was that random guy that shows up about like 4 different times, and like someone opens a door and the guy is there is like, Blood Lake, you're all gonna die. You gotta get out of here.
Old man Tremor.
Old man
Tremors.
He actually has like tremors.
Yeah. Or they could have done the Gremlins thing, and the old Chinese guy is like, yes, they're from wherever. They're called graboids.
Their backstory.
Yeah.
Don't feed them after midnight.
But I like that they didn't give into the temptation to do either of those things because, don't feed the graboids after midnight. Don't feed them anytime because they eat people.
It's so funny you're saying that because in Tremors 2,
you
find out that the little ones that are born from the worms reproduce after they start eating food. And like we just did Gremlins, and I was like, what the fuck was up with the 90s and their relationship with food? It's really weird that this is a plot in another fucking movie.
Gremlins in the 80s, at least. So I think it was just all, late 20th century. Everyone was diet crazed.
Yeah, it's got to be a part of that. Because I was like, it just really shows there's a weird relationship with food, right? That like that's part of the, I don't know. It's just so random.
I think a lot of it is the people writing the direct-to-home video Tremor sequels were probably just stealing other ideas that worked in other movies.
Yeah,
that makes sense. That actually, that's they were basically like ghost-written movies.
Yeah,
that's. Anyway. I'm not going to bring my Oscar critique to Tremors 2, I guess, is what I should take away from this.
Yeah, it's very because I know you've seen Community when Troy finally feels comfortable enough around LeVar Burton to ask him why they called it Star Trek. They never go to any stars.
Man.
Anyway, so he's upset that that lady's not blonde. They drive around for like 20 minutes, going from one murder scene to the next, getting freaked out. And eventually, the last guy to die is Victor Wong. And then that's only like halfway through the movie. Everyone else makes it to the end.
Everyone else makes it.
Yeah.
The worm.
Oh, that one guy that I didn't know what his deal was.
Nelson or whatever, the tire guy.
The tire guy.
Yeah,
who gets sucked through the tire.
He died.
Yeah.
So they go to these murder scenes, but like the worm, we said he didn't do any bits. He did a bit. He left just the guy's head for some reason. Everything else, it completely takes away.
Yeah. I guess
it's like I'm gonna leave this head here for these fuckers.
Yep. This is any monster movie. There's always the push and pull, the give and take of how much of the monster do you show. I like that. If you're like we we don't have like a ton of money and we're in the desert. So this guy's mostly underground and you don't see him. And he just kind of pushes dirt around. So I like the kind of slow ramp up of it is actually pretty early in the movie that they dig up and you see the full body of one of these things. But I like up until that point, the kind of different games that they do. And I really liked the guy that got sucked underground and then his wife that got sucked down in the car. I like that bit.
I like those two. I was gonna say I like how they did the like the graboids coming up where you really did think it was a bunch of snake monsters. Like there was not many indications that it was a giant thing with more little things to come out of its mouth. So that was cool. That was a good way to do it.
I thought some of the like the camera work, like the Evil Dead style, just like rushing across the ground was pretty funny looking.
Yeah. Evil Dead's a good pull for sure. That's another way that like, oh, how do we represent this monster? I don't know, just put a camera low to the ground on a dolly and have someone run it really fast.
Right.
It works in this too. I think the whole aesthetic is very I don't know if I thought it would be worse or like cornier, but it's like the right level. It is corny, but it works, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it
not all hangs together.
In the context of the film, yeah.
It really is the peak of like shitty sci-fi movies. You know, like it's right on that line of like it's not a great movie, but it doesn't fall into those pitfalls of like bad acting and all that other stuff. Like I don't know,
it's not like taking itself like too seriously, kind of
thing. For sure.
Yeah,
but they care, so it's nice. You get a good balance.
Yeah. So then it becomes a sort of everyone gets on high ground and they're kind of waiting it out. They're trying to figure out different ways. They slowly determine that I think they determine that there's 4.
Yep.
Counting the first one that they kill. Then when they're in the town and they're having sort of like the high noon, Western ghost town standoff, they get another couple of them. Reba and the balding guy kill one in their basement. And I think they blow up one out at the rock. And then the last one is the mountainside. And that counts for all of them. Got it. Okay, great. I was just trying to, and that's essentially the action of the rest of the movie, right?
It is. So what did you think of the prepper guy? Because he's a cult. I think is it Earl or
maybe. I feel like a lot of their names were too similar for me.
Yeah, I forgot what and I'm gonna remember it too. But he's like the pull in the other movies. He's the one that carries through all of them.
Yeah, but, Earl is the other main guy that isn't Kevin Bacon.
Oh, okay. What was his name? Do you remember? Did you find it?
His name is Earl. Yeah.
Oh, the prepper guy is Earl?
No. That guy's in the other movies? Okay. That guy's Bert.
Bert.
That's the thing. Like, Bert and Earl are the two guys in all the movies. It's like, come on. They're the same words.
Yeah, Bert Gummer.
Well, the prepper guy could be Bert or Earl. The second main character, who was apparently Earl, that's not a good name for him. It should have been like literally anything else. Henry, Frank. I don't know. It's just too. I don't like it. But what did you think of him? I had a lot of thoughts about him, so I'm curious what you guys' thoughts are.
It's like a lot of the characters in the movie, you're not sure how seriously you're supposed to take them. Like some of these guys are played in the movie as they're just dumbasses that are like getting everyone in danger. And some of them are played as these guys are kind of heroic. And there's not like a huge difference between the way the actors are playing either side of that. And I feel like Bert and Reba, who is apparently named Heather, they were kind of straddling that line. Bert does have a good line when they're leaving his house and he lists all the things he's done in his prepping, and then was like, all underground. Then they send me fucking underground monsters.
Yes. Well, so and like he's the one that carries through the other movies because he does walk that line really well, where it's just fun enough that like it works, where he's prepared but he's also a little crazy. My whole thought on it was like, I think it probably, especially knowing how big of a box office craze it has, I can see a lot of the like prepper movement growing from this. Obviously they existed before him, but like there's a lot of that. I feel like there was they picked up on the attitude of like, oh, I know something's coming, so I'm prepared. but they missed the attitude of, so I'm prepared for the whole town. Bert was a prepper, but Bert was like, you guys don't know, something's coming, but it's okay because I got you. I have rations for everyone that lives here. And like, I feel like that got lost. I don't know. Might be putting a little bit too much into it, but it's just, it was refreshing to see that he was preparing for end times and he was like, oh, I know more than you, but he was still like, and I'm going to protect you guys. He wasn't like, and fuck you, I got mine. I don't know. It was nice.
Yeah, it's like a different mindset.
It is, yeah. He wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna hole up in my foxhole and like fuck you guys because you know you didn't take the steps I took, so that's your own fault. But the one thing that is interesting, this isn't like specific to Bert, but just the way monster movies work is that guy is supposed to die. That's supposed to be the man's hubris guy, the one who's like, oh no, I'm not going up on the roof. I got everything I need here. That guy gets eaten.
So he's not the hubris in it though. That's so interesting. It's like a red herring for the hubris. Who is the hubris?
Kinda, yeah.
Who's
Melvin, the shitty kid?
The shitty kid, yeah. He does get eaten.
He doesn't die, but no one ever like doesn't believe them because they don't start with there's a giant worm. They start with like, we've seen literal corpses out on the road. We need to call up someone. And then by the time they figure out it's a worm, it's only like one scene until one dies and they dig up the whole body and they're like, yeah, there's a huge several ton worm. We found it. And then I think somebody back in town's like, I don't know about that. And then it immediately attacks town and then everyone sees it. So
it's real.
Yeah. So I also like, it is kind of refreshing that there's not like we need to close the beaches. Oh, but think of the economy. Like other monster movies have that kind of thing. It's more just like, no, the worms are here. They're killing us. Like we need to defend ourselves. And that's just the whole movie. It's just go, 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 which I like.
We set ourselves up in a valley. So like, yeah, we'd love to leave, but like, that's what's keeping us from leaving, not economic factors. That is cool. It's nice.
Yeah, no one's like, I've lived here for this long. No worm's going to tell me to leave. They're just like, yeah, no, we can't travel on land. The valley road got, there was a rock slide. And then also once they figure out what's happening, they're like, well, we can't go in vehicles because they'll just eat the vehicles. So.
And I mean, so like, I guess I'll give them a pass because they were in Life and Death. And I've watched this movie a ton of times and I only just thought of it now. There was probably only like, 1,000 pounds total of rocks on the road in like manageable chunks. The 14 of them probably could have cleared that road in about a half hour.
Yeah, if they had thought,
that's, you don't like, as like a regular person, you're not like, oh well, roads avalanche, I'm just gonna go get a fucking shovel and fix it. So it's fine, it works.
I mean, another tenet of movies like this is you don't hurt kids, but that pogo stick girl should have died.
Yeah, what was she doing?
Yeah.
What? That was well after literally every other human in the town that was still alive had all holed up in that general store.
Yeah.
And that girl's just in the street with the pogo stick.
It's funny you say that because I had a very similar thought with the when Bert gave the kid the gun and he trips. I was like, if this was a real horror movie, he definitely would have shot one of them. Do you know what I like? He would have finally given the kid the gun and he would have like fucked up and like hit somebody with it. But,
yeah.
Good thing you had the sense not to load it.
Yeah. Yeah, made you move faster though, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
That is funny. I like that there's speaking of how they made oh my God, I'm just gonna take this whole language thing over again. So mentioned earlier, the writers were standing on a big rock in the desert and thought, oh, what if something wasn't letting us leave? There's two different sequences that sort of happens in this movie. The first one where the three main characters have to pole vault away. And then basically the end of the movie, where most of the final climactic action takes place with most of the characters on that big, complicated rock formation. Mm-hmm. So I guess if you guys are like stranded out on a rock with these sand sharks circling, what's the move there? Fortunately, they had all the bombs and whatnot. And,
yeah,
and the cliff was right there.
Do we have weapons and stuff like that?
If you think you would have thought to bring them.
Well, I guess so. Like, if we're putting ourselves in it, it's what we have. So I'm gonna imagine I have a cell phone and a wallet. I put my phone on some kind of vibrate setting, chuck it one direction, and start running the other.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about thumpers a lot, speaking of
Yep.
Dune. Of just like, you got to just make noise in a different direction. You got to figure out a way.
There's that. They were doing that. There's also the other direction. They could have like done the equivalent of banging pots and pans.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't
they
be
were
able
sensitive to noise too.
Right? To know, yeah, I mean, not to talk about the second one too much, but they see infrared in the second one, and I was trying to figure that out because how does that work in the desert? Like, if everything's like 100 degrees and our bodies are 98, are we invisible now? I don't know. I didn't. It's too much. How did Freddy get his powers?
Yeah,
it's across like bear crawled or something. I don't know. So I don't think I really would have had much to work with. Probably just a cell phone and a wallet too.
You have to walk without rhythm, right? So
I do that anyways.
I would have just waited for somebody else to get impatient and then just left after them.
Yeah,
just throw them off the rock.
No, then didn't you leave your phone at home or something?
Oh shit! I better go get that.
So speaking of all the different times that seemed like Bert should have died, when they're stuck on the rock and he's like, I'm not going to starve to death. I'm just going to like light the fuse on this and let it like eat me, and just have the bomb go off when I'm in its stomach. Yeah, that would have made sense too. I mean, someone's going to have to volunteer for that eventually.
I think
he gets eaten in the second one, but they cut him out with a chainsaw, so it's okay.
Oh, nice!
Oh my god,
you guys are missing out.
It gets. I mean, this movie's pretty schlocky, but it sounds like it gets a lot schlockier.
It's fun.
So speaking of Bert, when Bert and Reba are attacked in their basement, it's very obvious that they're in front of they don't, aside from I think one shot, because I was looking for it, show the humans and the graboid in the same shot. It's just like it's one shot of them and then the camera is facing a different direction when it's showing the graboid. But when they're in front of it, it's obviously a green screen, and it's just like, like we said before, someone's hand in a puppet just poking through a model of a wall. But I really, really like the big puppet that eats Victor Wong in the general store. Because that one's big. That guy's in there.
Oh, yeah.
And it sucks him through the floor.
I'm not as good as like recognizing the puppets. I was pretty pumped about even recognizing the thing grabbing the boards as a hand. So I pick up on that. But
yeah.
I'm gonna have to rewatch.
I just like big puppets.
You can tell it's like a dude like basically working the big mouth. I'm assuming like with his arms open. I don't know. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I thought this is the only time I noticed it, because normally it doesn't show the humans and any of the when you can see a lot of the graboids, aside from that one shot in Bert and Heather's basement.
Well, that's probably just a prop. Like they specifically made that head for that scene. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're definitely in front of a green screen though. You can see like the green halo around the actors.
Okay.
So I was assuming they're facing nothing. And then what's superimposed on the green screen is a scale model of that wall being broken down by one of the big graboids.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's my guess. But then I was I was contrasting that model, what I think is model work, with the very convincing stuntman or a good animatronic version of Victor Wong, or just Victor Wong getting like grabbed, and the thing like swings around with it and with him in its mouth and then goes back down through the floor. Which seems to be like, real size and looks really cool.
It's good. I like when they like had to work with like puppets and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. It's all good. Okay. Do we want to talk about ratings?
Sure.
10 out of 5.
On a scale of 0.5 to 5, on any scale of your choosing, aside from stars, what would you guys give 1990s Tremors?
Hold on.
I feel like coming up with the whatever like grading thing aside
Yeah.
from the grapplings is tough.
Right.
Nothing else really like sticks out in my mind is.
Yeah. Again, to vamp a little bit, I forgot to mention that the friend of the writers who was working with National Geographic, Ron Underwood, he directed this movie. Should probably mention the guy that directed it.
What else has
Yeah.
he directed?
Mighty Joe Young. I remember seeing that in theaters, 1998.
I remember watching that.
I remember
It's a
that
weird
too.
movie.
Fucking weird.
Real weird. I don't understand why they made that, but I would give it 4 pipe bombs out of 5.
Nice.
It's pretty
Pipe
good.
Bomb is a good one.
Yep.
I'm gonna take the obvious one. Sorry. 2.5 grapplings out of 5.
Nice.
2.5?
I couldn't see, the thing with these kind of movies is I feel like you have to like care about the characters, and I just had a hard time getting into just caring about them.
Bacon.
What's that?
It's poor Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, sorry,
I'll survive.
Yeah, it's
I'll go 3.5 elephant guns out of 5.
nice.
They had to borrow that from a private collector or just a guy who had an elephant gun, I guess.
That's
that was a big gun.
That was a big gun.
They have a lot of folks. So in the second one, he pulls out a 50 cal sniper. And I think they might have actually got a 50 cal. So he blows a probably 6-inch diameter hole through a concrete wall after blowing one of the like little things apart, which was like super accurate, which was really good. And then they end up like doing an explosion at the end. And he's like, "What did you throw in there?" He's like, "Oh, I just threw a bomb in your truck." He's like, "In my truck, there's 210 pounds of dynamite in there." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, we gotta run." So they like run like 200 feet away from the building, and they stop. And Earl or Bert is he's still running. He's like, "No, you gotta go farther. Gotta go farther." So they keep running and running and running, jump into a ditch, and then it I think they actually blew up the factory. But it was so accurate. It was the only accurate explosion I've ever seen in a movie. It was nuts. Sorry.
Oh wow!
Wow, shots at Chris Nolan. You made a practical nuclear explosion for Oppenheimer out in the desert.
So sorry. That okay. They did that right.
Oh, Chris Nolan's on the phone. He's mad at you.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. Chris Nolan took the award because he did the whole. But like, my thing is, in movies, you'll see people like within throwing distance from an explosion, and they're on their feet, and it's okay. And it's like
that's true.
In the military, when we shot that rocket launcher at a tank, the tank was to the point where like if there was a bumper sticker on it, I couldn't see it. Right when that rocket hit, I felt the shockwave from where I was standing enough to like rock me a little bit.
That's crazy.
That was a RPG.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
People really, really underestimate what explosions do, and it's kind of frustrating to see over and over again. Because other people know this. I'm not the only person that's aware.
Yeah, I think it's just the way action movies evolved that became such like a, the badasses don't look at explosions, just sort of walk away calmly, put your sunglasses on kind of thing.
It
just became
cooler when it's close.
Exactly. Just became such part of the whole genre.
All right, I'll pretend it's just all force perspective, and they're really like a mile away.
There you go. So the questions this month pertain to genre and your genres of choice and the ones you avoid. So it's like a 3-parter that we've been doing. This we're counting as sci-fi, but it could also be comedy and horror or action. Kind of has all elements of that. So I like that we're doing these real genre movies this month. It makes a lot of sense to me. The ones that we are primarily covering sci-fi, we already did horror and comedy. We'll do romance, and we'll also do action. But you can list subgenres if you want to for this 3-parter. So, what's your favorite genre of movie? What do you think they need to make more of? And what's your least favorite genre, or something that you tend to have a harder time getting into? So we'll say, I think different like subgenres of horror have come up for the things people have had a hard time getting into. Like someone said they didn't really like slashers, or like the kind of Saw, Hostel, torture porn movies, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like uh, definitely, but I'm gonna, especially if other people said that. Because I feel like there is a type. For a while, it was like the Christopher Nolan type, like Inception movies. I absolutely refused to watch them. I was like, I'm not spending
Hmm.
fucking 3 hours watching a movie. But now I fucking love those things. So I think I was probably just too young for it, or whatever. Maybe just didn't give them a shot.
Okay.
But I feel like there's something else like that where it's more like, because people don't really make noir movies anymore. Because I would say that
Yeah.
I don't really like that. I get well, it's not new genres, right? It's just a genre I have a hard time getting into.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite genre? What do you wish they would make more of? And what's something that you have a hard time getting into?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, no noir. I really can't. I can't stand the whole like. And
There
there
you
was
go.
a dame, and her legs went all the way up. You see, it's a cold night when I first met her. I don't. Um, what I'd like to
See,
see more of is
I like that
oh
you're taking the questions in reverse order. Keep going.
uh rom coms. Oddly enough, I want more
Yeah.
rom coms. I feel like we stopped making them, so I like that. And then what was the last one, or the first one, I
The
guess?
first one was, what's your favorite genre?
Oh yeah, the hardest one. Um, I don't know, whatever you'd call Alien, but, like, specifically
Sci-fi
Alien.
thriller.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd like any other movie with Alien. I like, The Covenant. I like how there was, like, that
Oh, okay. So with the
y
lore and
the
stuff.
lo it was, like, the lore, but it was also, like, Michael Fassbender, like, I don't know, that whole, like maybe it's just pinnacle sci-fi, but yeah, like, there was the robots, there was the aliens, there was the thriller, there was, like, really fucked up stakes, which I feel like is important, but, like, without being over
Yeah.
the top. I don't know.
So kind of like a headier sci-fi thrillery, just a little bit of action in there too once you get to the later ones. Um,
Yeah. Well, then thrillers too, I really like. Like Shutter Island is another movie
yeah.
that I was really a big
There you
fan
go.
of. So that yeah.
There you go. Um, Noah?
I think my favorite genre might be horror comedy films.
All right.
Okay.
So
There's
eating good these last couple then.
Cabin in the Woods.
yeah, Cabin
I
in
do
the
love Cabin in
Woods,
the Woods.
So good.
Babysitter, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I don't know. There's something really I like about sort of
Idle
like
Hands.
which I'm pretty sure I still haven't seen that movie. I have to
Oh my
watch that.
god.
I know it's come up a couple times.
I think like for some reason, multiple people, Robbie might have been one of them, when I was like, I'm going to do a podcast about movies that like absolute classics, like some of the best movies ever made, and like some of us haven't seen them. And you're like, oh, we gotta do Idle Hands. It's like, I don't know if that,
Idle Hands.
I don't know if that fits
if it
the
does end up
prompt.
coming back or showing up in something, I'm 100% down to do that one.
I've
So
never seen it either. I can't really throw shade.
Seth Green. Like
Yeah.
young Seth Green.
Yeah. And then, so that was, she says that was your favorite. Anything you think they need to make more of? I guess there's
Oh,
not a lot of horror comedies yet either. So, or these days,
yeah.
rather.
Hmm.
I
Few
feel
and far
weird
between.
using the
I think
same.
Cabin in the Woods was like the last one, no?
Megan, kinda. It's not like scary though. I don't know. Just like, and Megan was already a year ago at this point, because that was like last January.
I think there's one on Amazon that I had mentioned last time that I had seen that was pretty good.
Oh,
I
right.
can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. So I think they do sprinkle them in like here and there, but it's kind of like harder to find and stuff like that. Um, I think for things I'd like to see or things I think they should make more of are just like good, I don't know, good comedy movies. I feel like Anchorman
Yeah.
and I don't know, like that
Mm.
style or I don't know, just a good comedy movie. I feel like I haven't
What
seen
is
in a long time.
Seth Rogen not taking work anymore? Come on.
Kind of not. I mean,
Yeah.
there used
Yeah.
to be so many, not even like, I mean, sure, looking back to the 80s and 90s, but not even a couple in the last couple of years. I feel like there hasn't been a big blockbuster comedy. You
They
have to start counting stuff like Barbie if you want to, but that's
they
not
Which is
they
primarily
did
cool,
comedy.
but
they did This Is the End, and I didn't realize that was like a statement. I just thought it was the title.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't realize that either. Was that like the last like one of
With
those that
all
they
of them,
did?
for sure. That was the last, like, one of
Ah.
those stoner comedies, and then I think there
Yeah.
was a
Oh,
couple, like, you know, individual ones, but that was really when it started petering out. There's nothing notable I can think of after that. I think This Is the End was 2012, and that's when they stopped.
Yeah,
makes sense then.
I guess the Zombieland sequels come out since then. I'm just looking at like literally a list of stuff. Um, the problem with all the Apatow and Seth Rogen movies and stuff is none of them want to hang out with James Franco anymore, so they just stopped making those movies.
Well,
Oh yeah.
fuck it, just don't bring Franco. You could still.
Yeah, you guys can do it still.
You had a blockbuster cast even without Franco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just sad. It's fine.
And then
Weird.
what's not in your wheelhouse, Noah?
I think I would say I guess like romantic comedies I'm not super big into.
Noah,
I'm sorry.
this
I'm
podcast.
sorry. I'm sorry. I know I'm letting you down.
Just shut up, Noah. I know they already
They're
have a
dead.
name.
They're dead.
They're already dead. Stop kicking.
Noir's coming back.
Oh man. Coming this summer, rom-com horror film.
I'm sorry. Wait, can I retract my
Oh,
the rom-com?
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, I had thought of superhero films. That was
Oh, there you
that
go.
was one of my other go-tos.
Yeah, those are pretty much dead.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe Noir will be what studios think is what'll get the kids back in the theaters. But
Maybe.
You know, it's okay. They can do that. That's I know that my opinion on this isn't like, oh, no war is bad. I wish I liked it because there's a lot of like
Yeah.
genre defining movies that I think would be great to watch. But
yeah. No, I think that's how I phrased the question. Like, what do you bounce off
yeah,
of?
no, for sure.
Not like what do you wish would die and you laugh gleefully like Noah and rom
Noah. Sorry.
Watch them burn.
Yeah,
I was
no,
trying to
superheroes.
I was trying to think of other recent horror comedies, and this is already like a year and a half ago, but I don't know if we ever talked about Bodies.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. I like that one.
It's pretty fun.
But with the superhero movies, it's really funny you say that they're dead now because you're right. But I remember watching when I got Disney Plus, they were all just coming to video, and I was like bored, so I threw them on. Every single one of them has such far-reaching plans. Like we're gonna introduce there's probably like 16 teased characters now that are just out
Yeah.
there in the ether that are never gonna be introduced.
This is too much.
Fantastic.
Yeah. The next big one is Madam Web.
Yeah. Wow. Leading with their heavy hitters, huh?
I'm brushing up against my heart out about
yeah.
10 minutes ago. So, but I'm just having such a good time. Most
Good
of what we've done the last 20 minutes won't make the episode, but just so we have a clean ending. Thanks, Robbie and Noah, for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having us. See you guys for Tremors 2.
So good. Yeah, next week. No, it won't be that. You can find our stuff at Linktree, linktr.ee/late to the movies, and all of the whatever else. I don't know. All the other stuff I usually say. We didn't talk about how they took out over 20 F words in this to make it PG-13. So see you later, mother humpers.
Oh yeah.
Huge downgrade, language-wise.
Yep.
Man, I want a recut. I would give anything for a recut with the F-bombs back in.
Yeah. I hope you can fly, you sucker, or whatever he says to him. The end there.
You ever suck toes for coke? Oh, half baked when it's corrected on TV.
Was that for
That's what Bob
sandwiches or
Saget
something?
says.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
no,
does make it much more graphic.
Like, oh man. Oh, sorry. On that note,
All right.
I hope that makes the cut.
Later.
Yeah.
Later, guys. I hope it does
Thanks,
too.
Craig.
Thanks, Craig.
Bye, Greg.